Wednesday again. My name is Carlos Navia. This is the Wednesday weekly learning session for local bartending school. I do this every Wednesday at 3 p.m. Pacific time at 6 p.m. Eastern time. You are welcome to join and be a part of it. If you are a student of local bartending school, we already have a link. You can still use that. If you are not, they should provide a link on the Facebook page if you follow local bartending school on Facebook. And if you give them a little bit of information, they will give you the link to get into this, and you're always welcome to be a part of this and ask me any questions at any time. So we've all made it into the new year, hopefully safely, had a good time, didn't do too much, get too drunk this weekend. Any questions about anything? Anyone? Okay. All right. So it is a new year. We've got a fresh start. I didn't even bother with, making any sort of resolutions because it never works out anyway. I wasn't going to make it to the second, nonetheless to the fifth. So, moving along, it's a new year, but I wanted to kind of think about, what we kind of took away as far as spirit industry wise, and bar wise, what we took away from 2021 and what we kind of saw. And I saw this, I went through a couple different articles. A lot of them mentioned the exact same things, which I kind of broken down here. One of the things they mentioned is Irish whiskeys being aged differently. And I kind of noticed this happening with scotches probably 3 or 4 years ago, that they're starting to put them into different kind of casks. They're using like old port casks, old sherry casks. I think Tullamore Dew is even kind of experimenting with aging their Irish whiskey in old rum casks. So, I mean, it gives it a different flavor. I know that, 4 years ago when I was working the country club here, Macallan's, like, they didn't just make a regular Macallan 12-year anymore. It was either a sherry cask or a port cask that they were aging it in. And that was just their regular Macallan 12-year that they were putting out. So it has kind of become a trend. It's going from scotches kind of over to Irish whiskeys. So you see some different kinds. Gives it some different flavor, maybe a different smoothness, a little bit different flavor to your whiskey when you're aging it in those different kind of casks. A lot of Jameson, Tullamore Dew, and a lot of those, up until this point are aged in old bourbon barrels from the United States. And it kind of gives it the flavor and the smoothness. So they're starting to experiment with some different kind of casks and some different ways of aging it. This was interesting, and I've got to try this as soon as I can find this. I'm very curious to try it. But there's a handful of American distillers that are starting to now make rice whiskey. So, rice is the third biggest cereal crop in the world. The Asians have been making spirits with rice for very, very, very long time, but it's something that's just kind of recently started, in the United States. It's cheap grain to get, cheap raw material to get, and you could get a nice smooth flavor out of it, as well once it's distilled. So I have to look into this more because I have to see some of the brands and see what we're looking at as far as rice whiskeys. But I'm very kind of curious to taste them and see how they compare to the regular wheat whiskeys, bourbons, and stuff like that. Vodka is still king. Vodka is 1/3 of the spirits sold in the United States and will remain king. I think second is, I wrote it down, whiskey, 25%. So it's well below vodka. It has steadily declined in popularity over the past decade, if not longer. Whiskey's coming up. Gin's made a huge, huge comeback in recent years where vodka kicked its butt for a very long time. But you're starting to see kind of some different things happen in vodka that, the old thing was, try to make it, where am I looking? I got notes. Try to make it, kind of clean and smooth. A smooth, clean, neutral spirit was the thing, but you're starting to get some small producers and some craft distilleries that are making vodka in a little bit of a different way, in the sense that they're distilling it less and filtering it less, thus leaving the flavors of the natural raw materials that they're using, thus giving the vodka a little bit of flavor. The old thing was that it's colorless, odorless, and flavorless. And it's really not that anymore. You can find some vodkas that really have the flavor of, the raw grain or the raw material that they're using to make the vodka. So that is a thing that's going to grow, and we're probably going to see a lot of it. In the past 2 years, I think we've gone from 400, small batch or craft distillers of vodka in the United States to about 1,500. So it's growing. They're out there. You're going to see a lot of different ones that have some, a bit of flavor to them, where most vodkas were just always considered neutral. The use of botanicals. Plants and roots and herbs have become a big trend in putting them, into different drinks, as well as, flavoring different spirits with them. Once again, gin has made a comeback, and it's kind of gone away from what was your traditional London dry gin that kind of has that juniper, that little bit of pininess to it, to what they call a Western style gin, which is more citrus flavors, little or no juniper. So it really doesn't have that piney taste. So we're seeing a lot of different ones like that come out that are getting very popular, and gin is going to continue to get popular. But I'm also seeing, what am I thinking? Like Kettle One has a whole line of, their vodka infused with botanicals and cucumber and mint, and I forgot, some of the other ones that they have. So that is a big thing, as well as, like Saint Germain, which I feel like I keep talking about because I see it every day, which is just elderflowers. It's the essence of an elderflower. So I think that that's going to be a continued trend, and then we're going to continue to see a lot of those, a lot of botanicals used in recipes, as well as finding a lot of liquors flavored with botanicals. And besides, just making the gin, flavoring the gin, or adding flavor to vodka, I've seen some spirits where I live here locally, that are using nuts, berries, as well as roots and different kinds of things to flavor them. One I want to try because I have an idea for it, called Malt and Oats, which is produced here by one of the wineries here locally. Yes, flavor with all different kinds of roots, nuts, and different kinds of stuff like that. I want to see what it tastes like because I feel like I can do something with it. I have an idea, but I'm not sure what it tastes like. So, I think we're going to continue to see that trend and continue to see a lot of people, using the herbs, roots, botanicals, and things like that in different spirits and in different recipes. Yeah, nuts, seeds, flowers, barks, herbs, stuff like that. It's going in there. And whiskeys continue to just grow and evolve. People continue to try new and different things, like the different kind of casks that they're aging them in, different processes for distillation, and different stuff that they're putting in there, as well as different woods that they're using, different raw materials that they're using. And I feel like it's just a trend. It's just going to keep going. I wish I had more time and two livers to drink all of the Japanese whiskeys that I see coming out that are very good. This is an excellent one, Centauri here. Really good stuff. And the Japanese are making a handful of really good whiskeys that I see in the store. So I think that's going to continue to grow as well. And we're just going to continue to have new and different kind of whiskeys come out as you see more stuff like the double cask and the sherry cask and the different types of whiskeys that are being made. Oh, I got another thing about Centauri in here too. Centauri put this out. I'm getting ahead of myself. The other thing is we saw the rise of ready to drink cocktails that people are taking home, as well as to-go drinks and batch cocktails continuing to grow. And I think that this is a great thing. I don't think, having a can of Jack and Coke is ever going to replace, what you get in the bar or the experience. Because remember, what we're actually selling is social interaction. You can sit at home and drink for a lot less than you go to a bar. What we're paying is for people who want to go out, they want to have a good time. But I noticed this too, a lot of, bars and different restaurants and stuff just deciding to bottle and package their own drinks with their label, and what it is on it, and just sell it in the bottle to go. So, it's the same idea as small craft, breweries brewing their own beer and bottling it up in small batches. Well, why can't I do that with a margarita? Why can't I do that with an old fashioned? Yeah, question, Monty?
Yeah, I saw on TV that Yellowstone now has their whiskey. That's so from the TV show Yellowstone. So they were
really
showing that in one of the commercials.
I see. Oh, there's a train. Sorry, train's coming. I see the commercials for it, but I've never watched the show. Is Kevin Costner in it? Is that who it is? As the train goes by. Oh God! So they've got their own whiskey now. Yeah, and it's so funny. So the ones I see, one of the ones that cracks me up that I saw in the store is Redneck Riviera whiskey. because I used to live in lower Alabama on the Gulf Coast and North Florida on the Gulf Coast, and we refer to that as the Redneck Riviera. In that area. I was surprised to see it in the store. Redneck Riviera, American whiskey. I'm like, okay, I didn't know the area had its own whiskey. But it's funny that you keep seeing more and more coming out. And that kind of goes into one of the things they're talking about that's definitely going to be a trend continuing 2022, which is celebrities starting their own, whiskeys or putting at least their name to a brand. I don't think LeBron James has much decision making or influence in the exact process of how his tequila is made. It's just his name on it, and all of them, and it's just going to continue to grow. And that's just another thing. They're playing off the popularity of the show. They know it's a popular their show. They know that people like it. They know they can brand it, and they're going to sell it. And that's just it. Sorry, a couple weeks ago I showed the Arby's vodka. Yes, Arby's as in roast beef sandwiches. Arby's makes French fry flavored vodka and seasoned curly fry flavored vodka. And they sold out on their website within a couple weeks at $50 a bottle. I don't know why. It is something about putting a name on it that people recognize, people know, and they're going to eat it up. They're going to go for it. So, it's the same thing that some of these bars are doing, with their product. If they have that name, why can't we just bottle it, sell it to go, bottle it, sell it at a store? And I kind of wonder how far it's really going to go as far as, stuff like this that is made from some certain bar in some certain town, as opposed to something that's mass produced by one of these companies that's going across the country, that I'm seeing everywhere. And I'm seeing them everywhere. And I mean, everywhere. I'm trying to see if I can open that, see if that pops up. Downloading, there we go. But yeah, there's just more and more and more of them. And it gets to be where they're becoming very creative with like the packaging and the ways you can use them and stuff like that. It's got its own tap on it. You just put it in the refrigerator and pour it into your glass and you've got your rum punch ready to go. And it's not a trend that's going to go away. But what I think the biggest thing is, I don't think it's ever going to hurt. It's really going to hurt bars having these things around them. It's never going to replace the experience of going to a bar. It's never going to replace, going out and having that drink at a bar. So,
but the problem with it is, on a small bar, not a big bar, but a small bar, you can't have the storage space or the money to buy all these different variations. Okay, it's exactly. Not feasible financially.
Exactly. And it was definitely a situation I'd come into at the country club here because of the situation of it being a private club. When you buy a golf membership, you own equity in the club. You are part of an owner. It's worth money. Can't tell those guys no ever. They all own the club. So if someone says, I want this, okay, we go out and we stock it. They do it for 2 weeks, and then 2 weeks later they go on to their next thing. Oh, now I need this, and then we buy it, we stock it, and then 2 weeks later they're on to a new trend. And it just became of, what the hell do we do with all the rest of this that they never, they drank it for 2 weeks and then they moved on to the next thing, and we're still stuck with all this stuff. So I totally get that, because it's way too many to stock them all, and you're not going to have the space, and you're not going to have enough people drinking them. It's got to be enough people have to drink it. If you're not selling it, it does us no good to have it if it's not being sold. If we can't turn it into money in the end.
Yeah, the same thing goes with wine. You could have probably 500 varieties of wine. Same thing with beer. I mean, we finally just put a limit on things because, we can't have more than 20 different wines. If, one person may come in and want one type, but then it sits there for 2 weeks or something. So,
Yep. And it's getting to where I've seen this in a lot of places where I live. Since the pandemic and since the shutdown, people have cut down their menus to where they're not carrying as many things as they once did. I think me and my wife went out to dinner. I can't even remember where, but she was like, where's the rest of the menu? This place used to have like a 5-page menu, and now it's just 1 page front and back. And that was it. There are problems with supply lines, and that's going to continue. as well. So it's having trouble getting stuff. And yeah, if you're not going to serve, if I'm not serving as many people, maybe I can't have as big menu. I can't have as many things around that I'm not going to go through because I'm not doing the volume that I once did. And
well, yeah, and you nailed it when you said supply lines. We could not get for the longest time Blue Moon or Killian's or something. So you just kind of like, I give up. I'm not going to even try to fight for those anymore.
And that's exactly it. And it's going to continue. Manufacturing delays, shipping issues, staffing problems, and shortage of shipping containers. And it's going to continue to go. And then you get to the problem of, can I get the raw materials to make my spirit? Can I get the bottles to put my spirit in? Can I get the labels to put on the bottles? And they're all at a shortage, and they're all having trouble getting them because of, there's a labor shortage. There's just a lot of things going on that are, preventing that. I forgot which one it was, but I was reading that one of I can't think of the name of the whiskey, but they're used to putting their whiskey in a custom bottle. They can't get it right now. So they're just buying a generic bottle, and that's what it's going to come in until we can get our custom made bottle, that they can't get anymore. And that's going to continue to be it. You're not going to be able to carry everything. You're definitely going to run out of stuff, and stuff's going to become scarce and become hard to get, which then what happens? It drives up the price of everything, because the less of it there is, now the more it's worth. And that becomes, a whole nother problem of, can I raise my prices? Will people still buy it at this price? And different kind of issues and stuff like that we have to deal with. So it's you're leading right into the only other thing I had for last year is hard seltzers have hit their peak, and they're on the way back. That fad came and it's already dying, already went. But yeah, that's what we're gonna have to deal with, the supply chain issues, and kind of dealing with. We have to work with what we can get. And people kind of have to be understanding of that. And if it means we cut down our menu, cut a couple things off, most places would rather do less things well than, do more things average. And I don't know what this means for a place like the Cheesecake Factory that has 100 menu items, where it's a War and Peace Bible. I don't even make it all the way through it. I'm the customer. I don't know how the folks memorize it, because you have to memorize it before you can go out there and wait a table for them. Yeah, I can't make it through it as a customer. You know what? That looked good on page 3. I'm done. I don't need to see everything that you have to offer, but I don't know what that means for them as far as trying to get everything they need to handle a menu that broad, because it's a lot of stuff. Most places you cut it down to, what are the items we can get that we can do the most different things with, and that's what we're going to work with. And the stuff that takes specialty items, or certain things, we're going to cut out. So that's going to continue to happen. Like we said, we're going to continue to see celebrities flood the market with stuff, as well as like what you're talking about, the TV shows, anything that they can brand that's popular. You're going to see it come out. You're going to see some kind of alcohol, some kind of liquor having to do with it. We did see kind of in the COVID, since the double lockdowns we had here, the rise of the at-home mixologist, and a lot of people figuring out that they could just stay home and look at recipes and make a lot of drinks, themselves. Once again, I don't think this is really going to hurt the bar industry too much. It's not anything new. Same thing happened in the 50s, same thing happened in the 70s. Bars still managed to make it. We all still managed to get by. People want to go out. At some point, you want to go out, you want to have an experience, you want to get something to eat, not clean up after yourself. Having the home cocktail hour, the home happy hour is always nice. But in a lot of situations, it was just, you're prepping to go out. You're having something before you go out to do something else. So I don't think that that's going to happen, take over bars too much, but it can lead to some great new ideas, people coming up with different ideas and, new things that we can try. And what's weird, I kind of find this weird, even though the home mixologist is making people kind of reach out and try a lot of different liquors and try a lot of different things, what they've noticed in the pandemic is that people's loyalty to their brand has risen. If you're a Jameson person, you became more of a Jameson guy. If you were a Jack Daniels, guy or gal, you became more of a Jack Daniels guy or gal, and that they've really stuck to what they know. And I think a lot of that has to do with, if I can go out to the bar and order one cocktail, and if I don't really like that bourbon, I'm not going to order it again. But if I'm going to buy a whole bottle and take it home, I'm going to stick with my, what I know, what's true to me, what's good to my heart. And I'm not going to take any chances, and I'm not going to experiment, especially if I'm getting locked down for several weeks or months, or I can't remember how long we were locked down for. It all seems like a blur of daiquiris and Netflix. So, but it can lead to some new ideas, can lead to some fun things. But brand loyalty will continue to go up. And, just the whiskeys, small batch, single barrel whiskeys are going to continue to grow in popularity. New innovations, in production and the way they do it, the cask, I already talked about that. But I saw this and I want to try it because I want to know. Centauri has just recently released, this article came out yesterday, so recently released a few bottles of very rare whiskey that they made. This is Yamazaki Centauri 55-year aged whiskey, single malt whiskey. I've only been on this planet for 47 years. It has been in the barrel longer than that. And I would love to see what it tastes like because it's probably amazing. It does come in at a hefty price tag. It is going for $60,000 a bottle. So I'm probably not going to get to taste it unless I win the lottery here really quick. But it's going to continue to be a thing. Small batch, single barrel stuff that's hard to get, and it's already getting to the point where some of these small batch and single barrel stuff, especially stuff like Blanton's bourbons and different stuff like that, they sell out and they become hard to get right now in the United States. So if anyone wants to try 55-year-old aged Japanese whiskey, there you go. $60,000 a bottle, probably worth every penny.
So when we were over in Ireland in September, we were in Teeling and Jameson and, the other distilleries. All of them had 25-year-old ones. Some had 30-year-old, and they started roughly at 4,000 euros, 6,000 euros. So they're not the only ones. Centauri, yep. There's others that have these very old bottles.
Yeah. And there's not a lot of them because it's small batch, single cast. There might be a barrel. Or it's one of the things. They're leaving that. Well, we're just going to leave that one barrel there, and then they clear the warehouse out. And 25, or in this case, 55 years down the line, you crack that barrel. It's only going to make a handful of bottles. It's not going to make very much, and it's going to be worth a lot of money. So the other thing, I thought that was nuts.
Yeah. The other thing is if you go to you and I talked about this a couple of weeks ago, that Clase Azul tequila. They had the typical Reposado and then the Anejo, but I was on their site because somebody was asking me about it. They have one that's called the Limited, and it's been aged 8 years, and it's a special bottle and everything, more than the others. Starts at $9,000. $9,000. So.
All right, I've got goals. I've got things to shoot for. That's a good tequila. But you know what? I think we're going to continue to see this trend, and it's just like that. These distilleries that are holding on to that one barrel now and have been for 20 years and are just going to decide to leave it there for another decade or so. Eventually, they're going to crack it and bottle it, and it's going to be like that. It's going to be worth tens of thousands of dollars, if not more, to get this rare stuff. All right, a couple more notes in the back here. Yep, RTDs are going to continue to go. We're going to keep seeing those in COVID. And the last thing, and they're not going away, low alcohol cocktails or no alcohol cocktails. And I keep seeing the non-alcoholic spirits in the liquor stores and the grocery stores where I live. It's going to continue to be a thing. It's kind of odd to me, but hey, I don't have to drink it. I just have to make it. So don't be surprised if you see that, or you get people asking for, low alcohol or no alcohol drinks. Get some water. So when we talk about popular drinks, and I kind of talked about them middle of the year, And the list of the most popular drinks in the world really didn't change much from the middle of the year to the end of the year. It is traditional drinks that are still remaining, the best selling drinks, the kind of most selling drinks in the world. I looked at a lot of what I thought was funny because there were a lot of articles about trends. I expected to see a lot of articles, a lot of, what are the trends going to be in 2022? And I found that most of the articles were, they asked a bunch of bartenders what they thought was coming, and that was it. They just asked a handful of random bartenders. We just picked 10 bartenders in Boston, asked them what they felt was coming. And a lot of them threw out some random stuff. A lot of them picked traditional cocktails or, kind of old school cocktails that are going to make a comeback, or, they believe will make a comeback in 2022. So I think we're going to see a lot of the regulars, a lot of the Manhattans, martinis and stuff like that. They're not going to go away. Negronis, stuff like that is still going to be popular. I want to make this one because I haven't done it in a very, very, very long time. But there's a drink called a Grasshopper. So I'm going to grab my martini glass. Kind of an old school cream drink. If you've ever seen the television show, The Big Bang Theory, Raj orders them a lot. You'll see him holding kind of this green cream drink that is a grasshopper. So first things first, let me get my glass chilled out here with a little bit of water. All right, and some ice and some water, and we'll let that stay there and we'll let that chill. So grab a little more ice here. So Grasshopper is really easy to make, really simple drink. What we just need is some green creme de menthe. And once again, this is just water here. Although I've got a little real booze, maybe we'll go into here at the end. I'm going to move this out of the way so it doesn't fly away. Perfect, like that. So green creme de menthe, really easy. We're going to do an ounce of this, 2, 3, 4. Dump it in there like that. And then we would do white creme de cocoa, which once again just tastes like, or cacao, proper way to pronounce it. We all say creme de cocoa. Just tastes like chocolate, would be clear like I've got here. In there like that. Then all we need is a little bit of half and half. There we go. So I'm going to do about a half ounce, maybe a little bit, 3/4 ounce, a little bit more, just like that. And we'll set that to the side. Get my pint glass here, pop it in, over the shoulder, give it a nice shake, nice smile. Get that nice and mixed up in there. Oh yeah, nice, perfect color. Let that drip a little. I'm gonna go ahead and strain out my martini glass here and pour out a Grasshopper. Nice and creamy, traditional old school drink. A little more in here. Whoop, gonna make a little mess. It's a little foamy top and a nice green color to it. Perfect for St. Patty's Day, stuff like that as well. But old school drink, tastes like mint, tastes like chocolate. It's got some cream in it. Really, really easy to make. If anybody ever wants a Grasshopper. Oh, I forgot my napkin. Don't forget the napkin. I can wash my stuff out here. Also, because it's wash all my stuff out. Also, because it's a new year, we're going into new things. It's also a good time to kind of go back to basics a little. Remember pouring, especially for folks that are still getting into bartending, haven't done it in a long time. It's always good to practice your pouring exercises. Going into your jigger, if I can wash the cream out of it. Pouring my ounce with my 4 count into my jigger. 1, 2, 3, 4. Pouring it into a glass. Seeing what it looks like. And then pouring straight into the glass and checking myself. 1, 2, 3, 4, and back down quickly. The biggest thing is when you're practicing and just working with some water is to always come back and check yourself to see how close you're getting. Oh, I think of a little dribble over, just a touch, but pretty darn close. It doesn't hurt to kind of go back through this stuff. Make sure you're hitting the right pour. I know sometimes when I've been at the same place for a long time, I've done the same job for a long time, I might get a little heavy on my pours sometimes. Sometimes it's good to lever yourself, check yourself, make sure you're giving the right amount and you're giving a good pour. So, covering my notes. All right. Of course, in the new year, we're going to make some old fashions because people are going to order some old fashions. So I have a fresh pint glass here. Do our old fashioned pretty easily. I'm going to grab a cherry. Got some tongs here. I'm going to grab a cherry, theoretically, and if there's a stem on it, take the stem off. Person doesn't need a stem in their drink, in their mash. All they really need is cherry. So I've got my cherry in there. I'm gonna need some orange. So first, I'm actually gonna take a twist off the side of this orange before I cut it. Just like that. And I'm gonna slice this orange up a little bit. Don't drop the twist. There we go. So I'm just gonna make this into little half wheels. Use a couple of these. All right, so I got my piece of orange. I'm gonna throw my orange in there. And where is my sugar? And of course we need some sugar in here to make our old fashioned. So spoonful of sugar, sugar cube, sugar packet, all about the same, all about a right amount, all about the right amount to make a cocktail. And of course we need a couple dashes of bitters in there. Give it a little bit of flavor. Stuff like this. All right, so I have my mallet here somewhere, and it doesn't take a whole lot to just kind of mash everything up. Get it in there. I'm going to give it a good mash because I'm going to double strain this, so I'm going to take all this raw material out so that none of this is going to go into the drink. There we go. We've got our nice mash. We've got our nice base here for our old fashioned. And throw a little bit of ice in here, filled out. We're going to do 2.5 ounces here of our faux whiskey. And I'm using fake Jack Daniels, but martinis, Manhattans, old fashions, ask the people what kind of liquor they want. Nobody wants the well liquor. People that drink that have a very discerning taste. They just forget. You know, people go out of the house, when they go out to drink, when they go on vacation, they leave their brains at home. It's just that simple. They have a go-to, just, hey, old fashioned, sure. What kind of bourbon do you like? Do you like Bullet? Do you like Maker's Mark? Do you want rye? You know, do you want this? They will definitely have something to go to. We're going to give this a nice stir, get it mixed up, and give that sugar a chance to dissolve a little bit here while we're diluting it and chilling it out. And let's get a fresh bucket glass here. Fill it up with some fresh ice like this. And we're going to give it the double strain here because I had that stuff mashed up pretty good, and I'm going to wash my strainer first. And give it a nice double strain here. I saw a guy in the video do this little number with the double strain, took the bottom of his cup and he stuck it in there and he mashed it. And if you know me, I don't like that. That to me is the same as when someone shakes a drink like this, takes this cup, puts it in there and strains it like that. So I don't like that. However, I probably don't need to be telling people at Diageo that they're wrong about stuff. If you don't know, they're a distributor. They distribute things like Johnny Walker, Ron Zacapa, Kettle One, and stuff like that. So we've got our old fashioned. Now, traditional old fashioned does not call for a splash of soda water on top. However, in 2021, wait, let me catch up my speak. In 2022, when you go to a bar, you order an old fashioned, people are going to expect a little splash of soda water on the top. And it just kind of helps cut the sugar and break the sugar up. If they don't want soda water on top, they're going to let you know. They're going to say, hey, can I get an old fashioned? No soda water. So if they don't say that, go ahead, throw that soda water on top. I'm going to give it a couple straws here. I'm going to go ahead and garnish it with, what did I do? With one of my orange twists here, all the way around. Nice squeeze in there. And then you know what? We'll make this fun, actually. We'll go ahead and do this like this. Let's see if I've got one more cherry left. Come on. There we are. give it through the cherry, and then you kind of wrap this twist around like that. Make it look nice and pretty. Go ahead and set it in there just like that. Got my napkin. I've got my old fashioned there. Muddled up, double strained to get everything out. Nice orange twist with a cherry on there, ready to go. Boom. With my splash of soda water, of course. All right, I know I had some other fun ones here. All right, so this one, not an old school drink, but it was too funny of a name for me not to bring it up. And let me see if I've got this picture. Oh, do I have more pictures? I don't think I have this picture open. No, I do have it. So there is a city in Mexico. It is called Oaxaca. That is as close as I can get to pronouncing the name of it correctly, Oaxaca. So I found a drink today called the Oaxacan Dead, meaning to sound like the Walking Dead. Oaxacan Dead. It took me a minute to get it after reading it. So it was stop share. There we go. We're still recording. Okay. Too funny a name not to enjoy it and give it a try. So if we wanted to do our Oaxacan Dead, we need some mezcal. Let me grab my stuff and rinse it out real quick. Lots of mezcals around now, and we're just going to keep seeing more, especially made by celebrities. So don't be surprised to see that. So do our Oaxacan Dead. We do 1.5 ounces here of mezcal in my mixing tin. Right there. So I've got something clear that'll look like mezcal. Cool, 1.5 ounces of that. All right. Also, you put in 1/2 ounce of apricot liqueur. It's clear. It's going to do about the same for us there. So I'm going to put my 1/2 ounce of that in there. The other thing you'd put in is, see if I can pronounce this correctly, Falernum. It could be a liquor or be a syrup. It's made with ginger, lime, clove, almond, kind of similar to an orgeat syrup that you'd use for Mai Tais or stuff like that. Or you can have the alcoholic version of it, just like you have real grenadine is a pomegranate liqueur with alcohol in it. You can have just the syrup or you can have the alcoholic version. So let's say we're using a little Falernum syrup here. And it's going to give it a little spicy taste, a little bit of a nutty taste to it as well. Also, we're going to throw in a little bit of our bitters. All that going up there. And we'll pull it in, give it a nice shake. Get it nice and mixed up there and diluted. All right. See how this looks in here. All right, we'll grab a bucket glass. Nice to top with ice. Get my strainer. It should have a nice pink hue to it. There we go. Also going to give this one an orange slice here. Then I've got some oranges. Also going to put a little sprig of mint in here, give it a little nice green color like that. A couple straws. A couple straws in there. Got my napkin. And that is our Oaxacan Dead. Ready to go, ready to kill, ready to turn you into a zombie. Smokiness from the mezcal, and then a little bit of spice and a little bit of almond from that Falernum syrup or Falernum liqueur. Gives it a nice little balance, a nice little good flavor in there. So, where I'm at time-wise. All right. Other one that I think is definitely making a comeback, or actually leave this guy out here with his little buddies. So, one of the predictions, and I was already thinking about making these for myself later today anyway, because I have nothing to do after the show. Can't beat a good old White Russian. All right, so became very popular, or gained a lot of popularity when the movie The Big Lebowski came out. My friends watched the movie, thought I reminded them of the character in the movie. started calling me dude. I ran with it as my bartender name. I don't think I act like, anyway, it's a long story. But I have actually met Jeff Bridges up here bartending. I actually met a good friend of his that moved up this way, who is a guitarist and songwriter, and was able to get them both to sit in and play guitar at the Cambria Pines Lodge. He played for 2 hours for a steak. So that is me with Jeff Bridges, and Chris Polonis is the other gentleman there up at the Cambria Pines Lodge after they played that night. Super nice guy, hung out, talked to everybody. He was not drinking White Russians. They were having red wine, but super nice guy, hung out, took pictures with everyone. He was, and I figured this out real quick, he was taking people's cameras. He was taking your phone out of your hand and telling you where to stand. Do this, do this. And I realized the guy's been on camera his whole life. He knows more about cinematography than all of us combined. Listen to him, let him take the shot. He makes some good shots. He got my wife to stand. And my wife's like, I want a shot with you, just me and you. And he's like, okay, stand here and look that way. Put your arm here, put your arm here, put your arm here. And basically he took a prom photo with my wife, and he was just goofing off and having a good time. So very, very fun guy. So I figured, since my day has almost come to a close and I have this stuff just lying around my house anyway, let's make a nice White Russian, a nice Caucasian. So I'm gonna take my Collins glass here, a nice fill with ice. And I have some vanilla vodka here. I like the vanilla vodka in the White Russian. I think it gives it a little bit of extra flavor, gives it a little bit extra smoothness. So I kind of have this left over, which I thought I would go through more of it during the holidays, but my family was not drinking as much as I thought they would when I bought this. So I'm gonna do this one for myself. So I'm actually gonna do 2 ounces here of vanilla vodka. And that's why I have a big tall glass. And we're going to come back with some coffee liqueur. This is not Kahlua. This is knockoff of Kahlua. Some sort of knockoff of Kahlua. There we go. And do about 1 ounce of that in there and try not to spill it too much. I don't know why I'm even using the jigger at this point. And we'll wipe up our mess. And then, of course, all we need is some half and half to complete our White Russian here. So, got my fresh half and half. I'm going to throw a little more fresh ice in here on top. I was taught 1.5 ounces of vodka to 1/2 ounce of Kahlua. I've gotten more to where I do it 2 to 1. I did 2 ounces of vodka in this one. I'm going to do 1.5 ounces of Kahlua. And it doesn't take too much cream. It just takes a little floater. It just takes a little bit on top to make a good White Russian. And if you have a second, and always good to do it if you can, give it just a little mix. It looks very cool like that. It's nice going out, but it is going to be a much better drink if I just throw it in there and back out a couple times. Get it to that nice consistency. I'm just going to get a little bit of frothiness. I don't want to shake it up. It's going to get a little too frothy. I won't be able to get it back into the glass. I should be able to get that all back in there as that frothiness kind of dies out. Get back in there. One last ice cube. Not going to go. Put my nice fancy Dollar Tree straw in there. Trying to track down black straws. I'm having trouble. Clear ones, I don't think will look good on camera. And I have my White Russian. If I put a splash of Coca-Cola on top of that, I have my Colorado Bulldog, just that easy as well. A very popular kind of underground old school drink. So these are just some ideas going into the new year, as get the right words out, as far as we predict that things will go. But, we'll kind of see how things turn out. We'll kind of see where things go here in a little bit as we get kind of further into this year. Any questions about anything? Let's see.
No, everything was clear.
That's yummy. That's delicious. It's nice to be back outside my backyard. I'm not going to lie, in the sunshine, having a good time out here, having some fun. Okay, so I forgot what my topic was next week. I have something written down inside. So I think we're going to kind of talk about, just kind of go into maybe some winter drinks. There's still, a couple more months of winter here that we're working through as far as winter drinks, stuff that's good for this time of the year. And we'll talk a little bit more about just kind of getting back to basics and, making sure that we're doing everything right and we're doing everything as efficiently as we can and as best we can to make the best experience for the customers, that come to our bar. All right, I guess that's it for today then. I am going to clean up and take the rest of the day off and enjoy. Thank you very much, Monty. Always appreciate your input. And I will see everybody next week. Have a fantastic week. Stay safe, and we'll see you next week. Thank you all very much.